what about your jobs makes you the most anxious and what brings you the most joy?
I would say this part makes me the most anxious. Not really on this job, actually. This movie is so wonderful to talk about that there's a real calmness to this part. And because we haven't all worked together before and now we're getting to meet, there's also this kind of social beauty and communal celebration of getting to be a part of something like this. But most of the time, the part that makes me nervous is the putting stuff out, promoting stuff part. Like the getting dressed up, trying to look good. I hope people like me. I hope people like it. Blah. And the most joyful part is the making of it, you know, the getting up, the going to work, the how can I make this thing a little bit more wonderful than it was yesterday today, you know, what can I do?
Well said. Like, I feel like the people in the process are the thing, and like sending it out into the world is kind of the stressful part, because you're kind of passing around something that you worked hard on, and you don't have that much control once it goes out into the world. But this one feels real good.
And the nice thing about acting for me is, I never expected to be, I was a writer for a playwright, and so I didn't expect to be an actor. And so I take it gives me a great deal of joy. And by playing someone else, it frees me up from anxiety. I don't feel it unless I'm, you know, if there's a scene, like when I first appeared, I had a scene with another actor, and I was like, I can't believe I'm working with this person. You know, I was like freaking out.
I had that too.
You know, that one where you're going, oh God, this can't be.
My first movie I did with Ed Harris and Jennifer Connelly, and it was like the whole time I had to keep like peeling myself out of fanboy and like, be present in the scene. I think anxiety is more about getting the job. And I think the in-between time is what gives me anxiety. But the joy of it is the creative process and getting to meet people like, I mean, I literally memorized parts of his comedy act back in the early 2000s. So it's like sitting next to him and he's super nice, and we're talking about this movie that's probably getting nominated for Best Animated Feature. Like, that's crazy.
Yes.
This is all joy.
Yeah.
I think what gives me the most joy is this, getting to connect with people, getting to meet actors that I've admired. I think getting to do the job of acting is just play, especially on a Pixar film, especially with Kelsey, especially on Inside Out 2. I just show up and I play. That gives me joy. And in terms of anxiety, you know, I picked a profession where you don't know what happens next. And I also picked a profession where I have to use my imagination. So the temptation is to imagine what happens next. So it's just part of my daily life. And the key part of this movie is anxiety does serve a purpose. It's to help you plan. So I use my anxiety, but I just don't let it go crazy.
Yeah. I think like joy, to piggyback on that, I mean, there are moments, I remember on Veep when Julie and I would talk about riding the comic wave together. And when you're in the pocket and you're just like, oh, we're surfing. Like, this feels really good. Anxiety, I think it's, for many years, I kind of listened to that lie that, oh, this business kind of tells you you have value if you did this. You have value if you did this. And it's like, no. The more I'm realizing my value is the same before and after success, that is where truth is. But many times, even as a older middle-aged man, I can veer into like giving too much power to people, and that's when anxiety can kick in.
I'm making a movie about anxiety for a reason. I feel it, you know, and we all do to different levels. If I go back at the very, very beginning when Pete asked me to do this, like I went home that night when he asked me, he goes, think about it overnight, you know, come back and tell me. And I went home and I thought like, okay, thought about the first film. I'm like, it's a really fun movie. It's a really imaginative movie. And this was the most important one to me. It made a meaningful impact on the world. I'm like, that's what I wanted to do since I was a little kid. And what an opportunity. I never thought that I'd ever get to be able to direct a movie at Pixar, ever. It took me a long time to get a job there as a story artist, which is where I began. And I really honestly thought that's how I would retire. And so to be asked to pair with Mark, it was really a dream come true.
Man, the collaboration of working with a team of artists and technicians and production geniuses at Pixar for 4 years to craft this thing has been awesome.
Yeah.
We're so proud of this team and how hard they worked and how they just brought their passion every day to help us make this movie the greatest thing it could be.
Yeah.
So that's the joy. The anxiety is gone because we finished and we love it and we're proud of it.
That's true.
It existed the whole time. But right now, backseat joys at the console.
Yeah.